Thank you for watching us on YouTube. But did you know that if you're on the go, you can get the full show as a podcast now? You can get our morning breakdown of the most important topics facing our country, news not being covered by the mainstream media, interviews with change-making progressives, and info on what you can actually do about all this. Search for The Damage Report on your favorite podcast app and subscribe so you know when new episodes are ready to go. So it has now been several weeks. Jamal Khashoggi, obviously, I think we can all agree at this point, was murdered. There had been an attempt to pretend that maybe he had just snuck away. Pretty clear now that he was actually killed. And in fact, Turkish officials this morning telling the AP that police found evidence in the Saudi consulate that he had been killed there. If you were watching the show yesterday, we showed you a photo of a cleaning crew showing up shortly before the investigators got there. I would assume that the consulate would have a normal cleaning crew, so I'm not sure how significant that is. But obviously there's been an attempt to conceal what actually happened there. There had been news yesterday that the Saudi regime was prepared to come forward and say that this was an interrogation gone wrong, obviously undercutting their many lies over the past week plus. And I had a debate this morning.
He went in to get a marriage license, right?
Yeah. And then this team of 15 people, which seems large for an interrogation, apparently took him and were interrogating him, and he died. So that is their defense to the charge that they murdered him. That no, they were torturing him and he died from it. Which that doesn't seem like much of a defense to me.
It's weird to.
That's what they're saying.
It's weird to a guy's going to get a marriage license and you want to ask him some questions, theoretically, even want to interrogate him, and you're like, Larry, did you bring the bone saw?
Yeah.
Yeah. I never go to an interrogation without a bone saw, because you never know.
Well, there's like, we've all known the guy that wants to carry a knife everywhere for no reason. He doesn't need it, but he wants to be a guy that needs a knife. Maybe there's a guy like that with a bone saw, but probably not.
I have not ever known that guy, just for the record.
Like that. Yeah. It's like the guy that wants an excuse to take off his shirt.
I don't know. Thankfully, I don't
Not
really
the same
know that.
guy?
No, I do. I
Piers
guess
Morgan.
I sort of know that guy.
Piers Morgan. Anyway, okay, so look, there's other news coming from this because it's becoming more and more clear what happened there. I mean, I think we knew quite a while ago, and they're coming closer in Saudi Arabia to admitting it. But obviously, they're going to attempt to shield Mohammed bin Salman and the rest of the ruling regime from any sort of culpability for this. They don't want, like, that's where that rogue killers line came from that Donald Trump just willingly provided PR for them yesterday.
I'm sure that happens a lot in Saudi Arabia, that sort of at a Saudi consulate, that people connected with the government just go off and do their own thing in defiance of the royal family. It seems like the kind of country where that sort of thing happens.
Yeah, there's a lot of just letting things slide in Saudi Arabia. Now, so because it's so clear, why is it that Donald Trump is so unwilling to talk seriously about any sort of consequences for this? I mean, other Republicans are, Marco Rubio even. Bernie Sanders is saying we should.
Lindsey Graham said I'd sanction the hell out of him.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's some ringtone right there.
Jim Rockford is calling.
There will be consequences. There will be hell to pay for your ringtone. But Donald Trump, he doesn't speak like that. He's been incredibly defensive, saying, we don't know. He keeps stressing that this guy wasn't a citizen, as if that means that we shouldn't care what happened to him. Today he said this: for the record, I have no financial interest in Saudi Arabia, or Russia for that matter. Any suggestion that I have is just more fake news, of which there is plenty. Well, there is plenty of news, not fake news necessarily, but when he says he has no financial incentives, let's talk a little bit about his history with Russia. In 1991, as he was teetering on personal bankruptcy and scrambling to raise cash, he sold his yacht to Saudi billionaire Prince Al-Walid bin Talal for $20 million, a third less than what he reportedly paid for it.
Nice.
Another great deal. 4 years later, that same prince was involved in a $325 million deal for Mr. Trump's money-losing Plaza Hotel. And then we turn to Public Citizen that has done a great job of going through a great deal of financial disclosure forms. Saudi embassy has spent at least $270,000 at Trump's Washington hotel just since the election. In 2001, he sold the entire floor of Trump World Tower to the Saudis. That remains in their ownership right now.
When in 2001? 2001, a significant year to sell stuff to the Saudis.
That is certainly true. So far, I'm assuming earlier, just statistically, it's likely. They still own that though. In the years before becoming president, he pursued deals with Saudi investors to build hotels in Saudi Arabia. In August 2015, then candidate Trump registered new corporations to manage a prospective hotel in the Saudi city of Jeddah. In 2005, he boasted about his dealings with the Saudi. 2015, sorry. Saudi Arabia, I get along with all of them. They buy apartments from me. They spend 40 million, 50 million. Am I supposed to dislike them? I like them very much. This reminds me of the Bolsonaro thing.
I know it doesn't mean it like this, but I mean just the kind of person he is. It's Saudi Arabia. I get along with all of them. You know, talks that way.
Yeah, who talks that way? Like they bought an apartment from you, so who cares what they do? Then women not driving.
No, I just mean like I get along with all of them. There's a degree of like.
Oh, you mean themming them?
He's themming them. You know, yeah. I get, you know. Those rich Browns.
Yeah, and as we pointed out with the Pocahontas thing, he said, "I will give you $1 million if you take a DNA test to prove you're an Indian."
Right.
Which is that's what they voted for.
And then said last night, no, I didn't check that.
It did. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, look. This is one of the frustrating things. The reason we recount all of this business dealing stuff is not to show that he lied when he said he doesn't have business dealings. It does show that, but that's not the point. The point is he is conflicted in terms of what our foreign policy dealings should be vis-a-vis Saudi Arabia. When we were concerned before the inauguration about him not divesting himself from his business, this is exactly the sort of situation that we were worried about. That his interests would be running diametrically opposed to the interests of the United States because of his long-standing business dealings with these people, and likely his future business dealings as well.
Yeah, and the biggest one there is the 2015, the hotel in Jeddah. I mean, the stuff before, selling your yacht in 2001 to, or 1991, whenever it was, to a Saudi prince, that bothers me or concerns me, even if we remove the Trump part and that everything he does bothers me and should bother every sentient American. But that would be that would be of concern in any case, right? I mean, that would be of little concern. Obviously, if you have a past dealing where you sold something and that transaction's over, I don't know that that impacts his decisions now. As a candidate that he still was looking to build a hotel there, and I don't know the status of that, but that's of greater concern. And of course he has business interests in Saudi Arabia because of the thing he said. They spend 40 or 50 million. Why wouldn't I want to?
I get along with all of them.
Right, I get along with all of them.
And that will continue. And so right now, as we're wondering, will we continue to sell billions and billions of dollars of weapons to the Saudi regime? Will we continue to aid them in their war against Yemen when they are going around the world murdering dissidents and journalists? It seems likely that we will continue to, and we will have to wonder, is this something that, absent the business dealings, Trump, a terrible person, just would have done anyway? Or is he doing this because he wants to make sure that later on in life, he will continue to be able to build properties in Saudi Arabia? That is a concern that we have to have. And one final point, Jamal Khashoggi was supposed to be a participant in the Gulf International Forum. It had previously been scheduled. Obviously, he will not be able to go there since the Saudi regime killed him. He was going to be on a panel called Free Speech and Expression, Suppressed or Triumphant, which really just clarifies the whole thing. Thank you very much for watching this clip from the Damage Report. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube to get notifications of our new videos. And of course, you can catch the full Damage Report live every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TYT Network on YouTube TV.